Well, good afternoon, everybody. I am excited to have Nicole Clonts with me. She has been in my community for, has it been about 3.5 years, Nicole? Something like
It
that?
has. I think it was 2022 in the summer. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so I don't know how she found me, but she came to her first plant medicine ceremony up in Boulder, and it was quite transformative. If I recall, do you remember? It was around the tobacco spirit, had some strong messages.
Yes. Yeah. And being
And
seen, I think that was one of the first clues
oh,
I got about my transformation was starting to look at where I was uncomfortable being seen. Yeah.
that's right, because there was a lot of focus on you in that ceremony.
Yes. Hmm.
Yes, right.
And
And
all the
we
guilt and what if people feel jealous and oh no, maybe I should let somebody else have a turn. I'm taking too much. All of that kind of stuff came up.
all of that we women run through our head. And in my work around the divine feminine reclamation, it's the reclaiming space and taking up space and sharing your voice and sharing your
Mhm.
truth and sharing your desires and because the divine feminine has been erased on purpose because the divine feminine is very powerful and it's not a power over we're just in this time where it's to come back into unity with the masculine. And so yes, what Nicole just shared, that is like perfect example of what so many women feel of, yeah, I'm taking up too much time and someone else should go. So we had that, and then how did it roll? Is that when you came
I
to
think I came to your, was the first women's retreat the next
yeah,
ceremony I came to? I think that was in the spring
spring?
afterwards.
Yeah.
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 Yep.
So leading these
Just,
women's retreats just for women, all womb centric, really de-armoring the womb and getting
mhm.
women connected. So, Nicole, did you have any awareness of your womb? You know?
I have had a lot of surgeries on my womb area, ovarian cysts, and I had an ovary removed. So a lot of my awareness was like, it's a part of the body that has problems. It's this problematic entity, and if it's not breaking in some way, just not really thinking about it as a source of intuition and creativity and guidance. That was not at all part of my awareness. Yeah,
And
so
did
that
that
was.
start? Because that's reminding me what we did, I think, before you stepped, I think it was after the retreat and before you stepped into the mentorship, you had surgery. And it was really because with my work as a healer, as a medicine woman, there's always an emotional element below the physical manifestation. And here's this beautiful young woman who's being told, oh, you might go into
Yeah,
menopause. You might not be able to become a mother.
yeah,
And this is the stuff that I love to bring in and say, let's prove the doctor's wrong. And you were so strong. You were like, okay, let's dig in. And we got to the source of what was causing the cysts because
yeah.
with women's work there's a lot of trauma that we have experienced. Do you want to say something?
Yeah, I'm getting a little bit of like a robotic buzzy sound from your audio. I don't know if you hear that on your end. I kind of got that, but
Hmm. I'm not hearing anything on my end.
mute, unmute, strange. Yeah, so it was so supportive, just to do that work going into surgery. The amount of like peace and connection to my body that I felt was amazing. Having had similar procedures before, they can be very anxiety producing and kind of make you want to disconnect from your body. But I just kept connecting and kept listening and sending, loving energy with Helen's help and guidance. And when I went into surgery, they were kind of warning me of the outcomes. We're not really
Yeah.
expecting that we'll be able to save very much of the tissue because the cyst had kind of grown all over that ovary. And when I came out, the doctor told me that zero ovarian tissue had been removed, that they removed the entire cyst. And it was basically a miracle that that
Oh,
was not what they expected. So that was just beautiful and celebrated that. And yeah, I would have continued that energetic connection with the ovary regardless of what had happened, like I have with my other one. But I was just so grateful. Yeah.
yeah. Wow. I was blown away because I was waiting, waiting. Okay, Nicole, how did it go? Because yeah, it was pretty dire. Like we're gonna have to remove it, or maybe you'll have half, and I don't know how half an ovary works.
Mhm.
But yeah, just so amazing. And I think that was part of, whatever happened in that March retreat, and then that was what surfaced. And then I was called to create because it was my second, no, third women's retreat, and I was seeing big shifts happening and the integration and the support needed. And so I created the
Mhm.
Divine Feminine Reclamation mentorship, and I really wanted something different. Like it wasn't coaching, it was a lot more in support Monday to Friday. And anyway, I think I was just running it by you, Nicole. I had created it, and I was like, okay, I want to know your opinion. Uh, and then at the end, she's like, I'm in. When can we
Yeah.
start?
Yeah, this sounds great. I want to do it.
So in
Yeah.
the beginning of the mentorship, how would you, like we're talking about Divine Feminine Reclamation, how do you consider,
Mhm.
where do you feel how, how imbalanced were you with and connected with your Divine Feminine were you?
Yeah. I think I had been starting to crack open the door and kind of see the potential,
Yeah.
but could also see the big old walls and roadblocks that I had sort of built around it, especially around emotion. Just
Mm,
really having that on lockdown, not feeling. And I think one of the things that came up in the spring retreat was around safety and feeling safe.
right.
So I think those two pieces were really big parts of my feminine that I felt, made me weak, or, it's too much. Or, I had really tried to cut off for so many years. So starting to kind of let those, I knew I wanted to bring those forward and let them flow. Um, but there was all of the coping mechanisms and thinking patterns and everything that I had built up my whole life to keep it all locked down. So
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest thing that comes to mind at the beginning of the programs, working with
Beginning. Yeah.
emotions and feeling safe. Yeah.
Yeah. Which is again that's well, of course, that's the we can't really do too much healing if we don't feel safe.
Yeah.
And
It's
being a
huge.
woman in this, I call it the false patriarchy. There's a lot of times we don't feel safe. And it can also be from other lifetimes, which a lot of us sometimes I've worked with clients who are like, no, I had a great childhood. I've got a wonderful
Mhm.
husband. And it can be from other lifetimes. It's in
Right.
our DNA. And so that safety piece. And then, as you said so beautifully, the emotions, we've been taught to numb them out, drink, smoke,
Mhm.
eat,
Watch
scroll.
TV,
Yeah. Yeah.
always be dating, always be working. Yeah.
Right. Numb, numb, numb. Let's not feel. And so that's a big thing that I do with ladies is to really get them starting to connect with their emotions. And the emotions, once they're acknowledged, they usually don't stay too long, right? They're there and they can be felt and they too shall pass. But it's that second chakra, which is the center of our emotions. Um, so um as we progressed through. it. I mean, you just went by leaps and bounds. There's, everybody comes into different, um, interacts in different ways. And with mentorship, I think I had daily messages from Nicole with her updates and celebrations, and that's a big part that we do because we women have been taught to celebrate ourselves. And so being in a safe space where you can celebrate yourself and say, hey, this is what I did today, or didn't do, right? So as you progressed with it, what were some of the things that emerged that maybe surprised you, or you knew was coming and you were excited, or how did
Yeah.
that unfold?
I remember saying the phrase micro bursts of emotion as I kind of
Mm,
broke down those walls. Like you were saying, that they move so quickly. As I stopped judging things, I would find myself crying so hard for 5 seconds and then just feeling like, oh man, like almost euphoric, or just these big emotions that would just start to sweep through. Um, and, something that was like wonderful, but also uncomfortable was the way, that I was connecting with other people as I was kind of expanding my authenticity, developing the courage to show up that way with people that already knew me and thinking like, oh, are they gonna, if I don't do my people pleasing and my keeping the conversation going and I just am how I feel, what's going to happen? And the way that my relationships deepened, it was like I had been holding back so much connection by trying to perform myself instead of be myself. And the relaxed version of me, how other people were able to relax even more in my presence instead of feeling like, well, now I need to perform to Nicole's energy. And yeah, I just feel like so many relationships got deeper, family members and friends, and I didn't feel drained leaving a social hangout with people that I loved. But I used to really, yeah, feel so drained after going out to dinner because I was just not just letting it flow and trying to be a certain kind of person. So that was huge and scary. Yeah.
woo! Yeah. Wow. Do you feel, because I guess you graduated just about a year ago now, right?
Yeah.
Something like that. Do you feel like that's in good flow now? Like you don't even have to think about it, or do you have to sometimes think about it and have an
You know,
awareness and check it?
it comes and goes. I think I notice it more with new people, kind of the temptation to call up those old behaviors and ways of interacting and kind of the people pleasing. So the people that I've broken through that kind of or opened up in that way, it's like that's the dynamic now. But when I meet new people, I do try to have more awareness of like, okay, check in with your body. Are you tight somewhere? What is that? Oh, that's in the solar plexus. Am I feeling like I need to perform to get this person's approval? So just the awareness is so much higher, and I can work with that part of Nicole and soothe her and be like, no, I hear you. We did that for one time, but we don't need to keep doing that. And, sometimes I'll notice things in hindsight, but that's okay too. I just feel like my vision and clarity of myself is so much different. Yeah, that the awareness is higher, the sensitivity is higher.
Wow. Beautiful, beautiful. And how about your romantic life? That
Mm.
shifted a little bit.
Yeah, I think going into the first ceremony with Helen, I hadn't dated in probably, I don't know, a year or something like that, and just hadn't had any desire. And as I started, going to ceremony and sort of doing more work to connect with myself, I found a lot of really like unloving beliefs and views that I had of myself, and I really didn't believe that I was worthy. So that was, a big part of the work as well, was like pouring so much love into myself that I felt ready. And yeah, I did start dating this year and met a very nice man, and we're having a very good time. Um, and that's a whole new cycle of, do I go back to how I was and who I used to be when I date, or do I use these new tools and this new version and just see what happens, and what's meant for me will want to be around me. So I feel like I've gotten to put a lot of that into practice and kind of heal some old wounds from my romantic life, which is amazing and liberating. And I feel much more free, and like, yeah, the connecting with other people is beautiful and safe.
Beautiful, beautiful. And curious if the gentleman that you are now dating um, is different in that because you are now more in your divine feminine with we'll talk about the inner masculine afterwards, but
Mm-hmm.
we work on that balancing so that you can be more in your beautiful, relaxed, receiving feminine energies. And has that shown up differently in your relationship? Like, you're like, whoa, this guy's different than your energy
Mm-hmm.
is different. It's a ripple effect. So,
Yeah,
curious.
yeah. We both said many times, if we had met even 2 years ago, I don't think we would be dating right now for all kinds of reasons. But
Yeah.
yeah, I haven't thought about it a whole lot. Except that, yeah, I do feel like I'm so much more able to just say yes to whatever he wants to provide. And the
Receiving.
attention, yeah, the receiving is so different. I feel like I used to almost keep a scale in my head of like, well, I've got to keep it even, and I don't want the other person to have too much power over me, and like all this stuff. And I'm like, no, I I deserve every good thing that this man wants to give me, and set being able to be full of gratitude. When you're trying to keep the scales even, it's almost like, well, yeah, it was your turn to pay for dinner, or, you should have bought me flat. I don't know. It's this weird dynamic of like, neither of us owe each other anything, instead of just, oh my gosh, thank you. Oh, I feel so good. Yeah. You're
Oh,
such a
I love it.
thank you. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. And that because I talk about like I love asking in a new group, who's a really good receiver? Nobody's
Mhm.
goes up.
Yeah.
And that is divinely feminine to receive.
Mhm.
And so you're practicing that beautifully. Beautifully. Wow. I love that good scale in your head. Oh, so glad that's
Yeah.
gone.
Oh my gosh, me too. And then you don't even feel like you have to be grateful, because you're like, well, of course he needed to even the scale. It just takes all the like, yeah, the gratitude is such a huge piece, and the humility to
Yeah.
say thank you. Like, yeah, you didn't have to do that for me. Thank you. Yeah.
And how about extending it a little bit more? Because the receiving thing is
Mhm.
huge.
Mm.
Women often were programmed. You got to take care of everybody else. You're last
Mhm.
on the list. I'm going to be your emotional, like
Like your
I'm going to
therapist.
manage everything so your emotions stay quiet. Um, and so receiving, like I always give the comment, like women will scoff off a compliment, like Nicole,
Mhm.
oh, it's just an old shirt or whatever, right?
Mhm.
No, just practicing. This is something I teach is just say thank you, even if it's uncomfortable. Say when
Yeah.
someone gives you a compliment, just say thank you. And I think I remember you had a women's circle, and there was a lot of compliments that came your way.
Mhm.
You led it, and you messaged me and were like, that was really hard. That was really hard. And I always say, let it sprinkle in like little stardust, especially into
Mhm.
your womb. So how are you doing with compliments, support, help, and
Yeah.
love beyond the romantic?
Right. Yeah, it's man, I'm trying to think of the last time I didn't want to let someone help me. Like
Oh,
I'm
yes.
sure it happens, but I'm not thinking about it as, oh, this is so hard anymore. Like most it
Woo!
just feels wonderful. And I'm like, oh my gosh, yes. And I can see, the gift that it is to other people that care about me to be able to help me and support me the way that I feel when I support them. And
Yes.
there's not that sense of like, I don't deserve it or I need to pay it back. It just, yeah, has eased up so much. I'm so grateful. And again, like the depth of connection that I'm able to feel with people that have been in my life for years and years is so much greater because I'm allowing them to actually be there for me in ways that I didn't before. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Ooh, love that. Love that. Uh, so the other area that I wanted to ask you about, Nicole, was, which is unfortunately a very, very way too common trauma, is sexual trauma that women have. And I mean, men have it too, but I'm working mainly with women. Um, and you had that going on, and I'm curious. We did a lot of healing, a lot of
Mhm.
forgiveness, a lot of moving that energy. Like I always say, when we have fibroids or cysts or cervical cancer, usually there is a sexual trauma,
Mhm.
and um, and sometimes it can be from mom because trauma is passed from womb to womb to womb. This is a big part of why this womb work, because once the wombs have been healed, then the trauma is not passed down. So it can also it can be the own person, or it could be from mom that's been passed down, or grandma. So I'm curious. We did a lot of deep diving, a lot of healing around that. How are you with all of that now? Where is your heart?
Mhm.
Where's your sense
Yeah.
of power?
Yeah. I feel like that changed my experience in my body and with myself so much just through, and there were so many things that we did. It wasn't just one Reiki session. It was the meditations and kind of the building resilience to emotions. And not just looking over memories, but letting the body express itself, like the
Right?
shaking and the feeling into the physical sensations. And I feel like, so much of that, there was so much that was released through all
Yeah.
the practices that we did together. Um, and the connection that I feel to myself is so much more powerful. And I would also say my confidence in caring for myself and that part of me is so high, that
Mm.
I don't want to say, that it's something that can be triggered,
Yeah.
and my feeling of I can take care of this scary part, I can reconnect, I can soothe, like all these little practices and rituals and ways to kind of move through that energy. I just feel so much more confident that like I've got it. It's okay. I have that inner voice. And it's I could have probably never I hadn't really even acknowledged it, I think, to the
Right.
depth that I did during the program. It was like, oh, I'll tell the story to a therapist, and then I guess it's supposed to be done. But just the exploration of reconnecting to myself and soothing those hurts was so healing. And I have that skill set now,
Yeah.
is kind of how I feel to
Mm,
tend to if there's little aches or little
yeah.
trembles on occasion that like I've got it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And did it change um your sense of body love? Did that change as we went through the mentorship and healing the sexual trauma? Did that somehow where
Yeah, I
was
do
your
feel like
body
there were,
love or
yeah, times where that overlapped. I could see where, the trauma may have fed painful belief about myself and my love for myself, and kind of how they were woven together. But yeah, just that practice of taking care of myself, and letting all those pieces be heard and be taken care of.
yeah,
Um, Absolutely expanded my love for myself, that there's no part that needs to be hidden away or that can't tell its story or that isn't going to get what it's need. Like I love every version, every experience of Nicole. Like they're all welcome, and I'm going to do all kinds of different things to bring them all together into this, being that I am. Yeah.
yeah. And that brings to mind your sassy self started emerging, and you were trying out, you were being really like going out of the comfort zone with different outfits. Like I
Oh
remember you
gosh.
shared, she was looking so gorgeous in this like
Yeah.
leopard cat dress. And I think, I
Oh my
don't remember,
gosh.
were you going on a date or were you going, I forget.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it was something that you would never have worn on
No.
for
And I
that.
am wearing a warm, cozy sweater today, but in general, I would say like 80% of my wardrobe is kind of like doesn't fit where I'm going. Like I just wear more bright colors and patterns and, a long gown to a brewery. Like I'll just wear anything now and it gives me so much joy. But yeah, I had all this judgment of the leopard dress because I was like, oh, it's cheesy. Oh, it's trashy. Like, I just can't, I'm going to be silly. And because I had all those thoughts, I actually decided to wear it to the event that I met my boyfriend at. I was wearing
Oh,
a wild leopard outfit. And yeah, he saw me from across the room, came straight up and introduced himself. So I just love that I was like, oh, nobody's going to take me seriously in this. It's like, you know what? But I like it. So I have to wear it now. This is my sign from the universe to kill that judgment. I can go ahead and just be myself and see what I attract. Yeah.
I love it. And so now it's almost like, is this something that your friends now know that Nicole might show up in a gown at the brewery?
Yes. Yep. Yeah. And they love it too. They're like, yeah,
Yeah,
you know, you look
yeah,
great.
yeah, yeah. Um, Another question, the wild feminine. We have been domesticated, and
Mhm.
I have a soul song that channels through where it's pretty wild sounding. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, it's a wild one that will usually come through in ceremony and in
Mhm.
sessions. Um, and I feel like she came started coming through, I don't know, a couple years ago, and I feel like it usually brings laughter when it
Mhm.
does bring this sort of sense of, yeah, let me be wild. Yeah, let me let that hair down and let it out because
Yep.
we've been so domesticated. And the feminine is wild. She's wild. Think of nature. She's our ultimate. There is nothing domesticated about nature. Look at a snowstorm, look at a tornado, look at a, you know, beautiful, amazing sunset.
Childbirth is wild and messy.
The what?
creating new life, even creating new life and birth. It's wild and messy. Yeah.
Messy, messy. Like we're meant to be messy, imperfect. So how are you doing with getting rid of, were you a perfectionist as you came
I
in?
was,
Oh,
yeah. I was very much a perfectionist. Yeah, oh man. It's so weird to even think about how much mental energy I used to spend making everything perfect. And perfect by whose standard? Trying to figure out what somebody else thinks is perfect and make it like that for them. Like it was so much. And I'm not saying that I never veer into, but the awareness of like, wait a second, that's not about, I don't need to make something right for somebody else. And checking in with myself, like, yeah, you could spend your whole Saturday cleaning the whole house, but what do you want to do? Do you want to go play your guitar? Do you want to go, lay in the sun? Like, you don't get a gold star for having the house clean at the end of your life. And so much more freedom to just follow desire and joy and be able to hear them, to tune in and be like, what is turning me on? What is pulling my life force? And sometimes it is to get things all
yeah.
clean and serene and, to do some of those life chores. It can feel wonderful. When I'm in the mood to do dishes, I almost feel like I'm vibrating while I'm like putting them away because it feels so right, but not following the rules, the script of like, you do it at this time in this way. Like, no, it'll
No.
get done when it's supposed to get done.
Liberation. Liberation.
Mhm.
Wow. Yeah, I was to say, I've known Nicole a long time and I couldn't remember if you had that perfection, but now that you mention it. And so curious. I am, no, perfectionism has not been a big thing for me, but
Yeah.
in preparing, this is only my second interview of doing interviews with past mentees and people within the community. I'm really having fun with it. And I was really a bit nervous and had my
Sure.
script and I did one this morning and I just threw it out the window because I realized I wasn't being present with her. And did you
Mhm.
feel like you wanted to prepare a little bit, or did you just say, nope, how are you
You
before?
know, Yeah, last night I read through some of the summary emails just to refresh my memory on some of the big themes. But then I didn't really feel like I wanted to do much more than that. Yeah, but it was
Yeah.
just, it's safe to show up. It's safe to be me. It was a big intention.
Oh,
And to be authentic when you're rehearsing everything you're going to say and everything they're going to say, if you stick to it, sometimes it's not even true anymore. Like allowing myself to show up and speak from whatever is happening in me right now, it's safe to do that. I don't need to prepare for life. Yeah.
oh, and it's so much juicier.
Yeah, right?
Juicier. Yeah.
Yeah, you can tell when people are just talking on a script. Like, I plan to say this, so I'm going to say it, whether I feel it right now or not. Yeah.
Right.
Authenticity
So,
is
oh,
so attractive, and so healing. Yeah.
and that's what I'm loving is that it's not something that I expected to hear from the ladies, but that's a word that I'm hearing is authenticity. I can be me. Just
Yeah.
you. I mean, that's what we're here to be. Us. Not some other version that the society says you should be like this, and the word should is an indicator that it's a no-go. Yeah.
And
So
it's so much easier to just be.
yes.
It's like, gosh, I was working so hard. It was exhausting. Yeah.
That's such a
And
good point.
that's a good trigger for me when I start to feel that feels like I'm working hard. Or why does this feel kind of hard? I'm like, oh, I'm not in my authenticity right now. It should feel easy.
Oh,
Shouldn't be practicing being myself. Yeah.
so good. Um,
Mm.
mm, okay, another question for you. Uh, Women refer to it differently. Like I change up, the womb is the seat of our power, womb oracle, womb consciousness, womb wisdom, living by that. And you've already voiced like the joy and desire. That's what the I always like to share that the womb is like a treasure chest, and it's filled with all these amazing treasures, which one of them is your desires. And so many of us, because we've been so programmed to follow somebody else's idea of who we should be, we don't even know what our desires are. Or when we do, we're scared to ask
Yeah,
for them. So
yeah.
how do you relate to that now? Or maybe
Mm,
how were you initially and where are you now today?
yeah, I think in 2022 or a little before, I would say I was very scripted with my life. Like, these are the things I'm supposed to do, and not checking in with, do I even like this? And now, yeah, I'm kind of obsessed with my own desire. Like, even in the tiniest ways, like, I'm constantly looking around and thinking, what would make this 10% better right now? Oh, I'm going to light a candle on my desk. I'm going to put warm, fuzzy socks on. Like, even the smallest desire, I'm like, tell me, Nicole, and I will try to go get it. And then to bigger changes, like, I wanted to perform with my band and I was terrified of being seen. So this was the first year that we started playing all these performances and going through that and letting go of the fear because I knew I wanted it and all the joy that that's brought. Yeah, pursuing different hobbies. I feel like I don't need to know what I'm going to do with something before I do it. It's like, if I like it and I'm interested, let me go take a Thai massage class. I'm an accountant, so I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that, but I'm drawn to it. Or let me, start growing this kind of plant or that. I'm just I don't have a lot of judgment of my desire. I just kind of allow myself to experiment. And that's very different than well, is it going to make money? And does it make sense? And what are people going to think? That stuff is gone. Yeah.
Oh, so good. And your intuition, which is divine
Mm,
feminine.
yeah.
We've all been, told, oh, that's just your imagination. You're just making it up, and and then in doubt, you hear it. So many women hear it, and then they dismiss it. So where are you on that front?
Yeah, I think, I mean, I didn't even believe that that was real a few years ago. Like, I don't know about that. And it feels a little bit like an instrument that I'm learning to play. Like, I'm getting better and better, and I have certain chords that I can play really well and certain ones that are challenging. So it's almost like different areas of my life. I feel like my intuition comes through right away, and others it kind of whispers or
Mm.
yeah. So it feels like something I've tapped into, and I think it's going to grow over the course of my whole life. But
Yeah,
it's,
yeah.
yeah, the
So
less that I'm questioning it, the more it shows me in different ways. And often through the body is something I'm starting to
mm,
connect with. My intuition is a physical sensation in reaction to something. Like,
okay, give an
oh, that,
example.
yeah. So, having an interaction with a person and I'm feeling sort of trembly almost, or like, like a flop in my stomach. And then later I think about it, I'm like, why was I feeling so weird with that person? I'm like, oh, well, what they were saying was making me feel really unsafe. Even though I'm an adult and nothing was going to happen, I just didn't like what they were saying. Um, and yeah, like the consciousness comes later of like, hey, this is not for you. This is, and here are the reasons why. Sometimes I'll know and sometimes I won't, but learning to trust some of those sensations of, yeah, I don't like this. Or like, oh, I feel so buzzy and soft and melty. Like, this seems like a silly thing to do or way to interact, but it feels good. I don't know if that's really intuition, but a different kind of intelligence that
Well,
I feel like I've
it is, no,
experienced
it is
before.
intuition, and it's also you're touching upon embodiment, which is
Yes. Yeah.
100% the feminine essence, because we've
Mhm.
all been, nope, just the head, ignore the body, no emotions, no feeling. So being embodied, I think is absolutely fabulous. Yeah, that you're
Yeah.
feeling, because the body knows first. The body knows
Yes.
first. It's like the other day, I think I had some. anxiety that popped up. And I'm a real empath. And so sometimes I can, a lot of times I can feel other people's energy. And I realized, yeah, later on it wasn't mine, but I felt it in my body. And it just was like, okay, an awareness. And so yes, being embodied to let the body alert you to yes, no, maybe,
Mhm.
right, good, bad. Beautiful,
Yeah.
beautiful. Wow. What was my other question? Oh, the inner masculine. So one of the things that when
Mhm.
women come into the mentorship, we talk about the divine feminine, but then we also bring up inner masculine, inner feminine, inner masculine, which most women in our society, because everything prioritizes the masculine energies, again, not gender-based, just the masculine energies, the mind, which is the masculine, the heart is the feminine. Um, we're over masculinized. We women are so in our masculine, but unhealthy masculine. And it doesn't, we don't feel good in there because it's not our natural state.
Mhm.
And so, how have you, where were you when we started, and where are you now today with
Yeah.
that balance, bringing the two, because that's where ultimate work, particularly going into this next new year, is that unity between the two within.
Right. Yeah, it feels much more like they're collaborating with each other. With all this beautiful whimsy and embodiments and following every desire. And, it can get a little like, oh, I've just started 10 new hobbies in the last month. And, what brings the most joy? So bringing the masculine in when it's going to support me and not when it's going to like beat me with kind of you need to accomplish and be productive and be organized. So it's like the parts that are helpful are present and I can really appreciate those qualities and how they intermingle with the feminine desire and creativity, because those two parts of me do need to support each other. And yeah, it feels really just wonderful to see them like weaving in and out and you know giving and taking from each other. That it's like a playful unfolding just of my own energy, and I love it. Yeah, I love my inner masculine, I love my inner feminine. Yeah, they're
Yeah,
partners.
wonderful, wonderful. All right. Do you have any last words, comments, about
Mm,
where you are now?
yeah, I think the thing that has just been showing up so much in the last month is just how deeply safe and calm I feel in my body after doing all that work. And it's like, it's euphoric to be alive. It's incredible when things are working the way they're supposed to, and you're letting the energies flow. Like it's almost like every emotion feels good when you're not fighting it. So just this flow and like just overall joy that like life is so beautiful, and I'm so grateful to experience it for as long as I do, and I'm not afraid of what it's going to be and what it's going to bring.
Mm.
Um,
And
yeah,
that's saying
and
a lot with what's going on in the world to be able to say I feel
I'm
safe. Like, that's just enormous.
so peaceful. Yeah.
Wow. Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for
Thank
joining me
you.
today, sharing your essence with us. Really appreciate it and just love how you continue to grow and emerge and flourish. Yeah,
Thank
wonderful.
you. Thank you. Such a privilege. Yeah, I wish that everyone could have their version of the journey that I've had.
All righty. Bye for now.